And ANC people, some of them said, you are not talking enough with the EFF. EFF gave us 10 commandments to answer. I've never had such a difficult homework, even in my school days. You know, writing a homework and all of that, and then send it back to Floyd. And then he marks read all of it. I said, no. They became principals, marking our homework and everything. Yeah, marking it red all the way. We went back. We said, comrades, we failed.
So the people who read a book, they reason better than Fikile Mbalula.
Hello there, guys, and welcome to Daily Updates. The marriage between the ANC and the DA is not even 1 week old, but already there are a lot of problems in that marriage. And as we've seen, Fikile Mbalula together with Helen Zille were called to an interview on SABC. And oh boy, did Helen Zille expose Fikile and the ANC for not reading that contract which they signed, the contract which is governing the GNU. But before we go further on that, if we check the background education of Helen Zille, who's heading the team of the DA, and Fikile Mbalula heading the team of the ANC, it goes as follows. Helen Zille has a Bachelor of Arts degree, while Fikile Mbalula has a leadership skill certificate. So it tells us that these people sat down to negotiate, and in the final, they signed down, but only Helen Zille went down to read that document to understand it, because remember, Helen Zille wants power. She has always wanted to be in the leadership, and finally, she gets a chance. They sent a person with the leadership skills. Now, Fikile Mbalula went there, and they sat down to discuss whatever they discussed, signing down, and at the end, it was final. The problem started when Fikile Mbalula went to the media to announce that the PAC has joined the GNU, and also announcing that they have reached out to the Patriotic Alliance to form part of the GNU, and that did not make Helen Zille happy. Remember, beside the fact that there is a document governing the GNU, Helen Zille would not want to see Patriotic Alliance anywhere near the GNU. She would not want to see Gayton McKenzie occupying any position that is in the GNU. She would want Gayton to be there as an opposition so that ANC-DA, IFP can work peacefully. As you can see now, some parties are joining. But I think Helen Zille wants the smaller parties to join so that the rest of those guys who had bigger than 5%, they can stay there and be an opposition. And if you look at that document, it reads as follows, some of the parts. It says, in keeping with the spirit of an inclusive GNU, it is agreed that the composition shall be discussed and agreed among the existing parties whenever new parties desire to be part of the GNU. And it says, the parties to the statement of intent agree that when committees of parliament are constituted, the spirit of a parliament of national unity shall be implemented to enable parties that are part of the GNU to be accorded leadership positions of some committees. In this regard, the parties agree that the IFP shall be elected to the position of chair of chairs. One question, was Fikile Mbalula not aware that Helen Zille doesn't play games? Was he not aware that once you give power to the DA, you must be ready to sweat Monday to Friday? You are only going to get an off on Saturday and Sunday. Were they not aware? Could they have maybe produced a better team that could have went there to say that DA, you are not going to rob us, we are in charge? Now it seems like the person in charge of the GNU as of now is Helen Zille. And if the ANC doesn't do anything about it, we are going to see Ramaphosa being removed in the next coming years. They are going to replace Ramaphosa with Helen Zille as the president because the GNU is telling them, do this, do that. Now, our brothers there who have been running the country for 30 years cannot read the agreement. They read, but they don't understand. It's like me going to a software, and when they say that you need to read this before you agree, I just click agree because I don't have time to be reading those long paragraphs. But you cannot do that in politics. You have to read fine prints so that Helen doesn't produce a document and say that I got you. So if we look back, on Sunday, Jacob Zuma actually called this whole GNU a nonsense. saying that the GNU won't work. It's like they are going into a marriage. And we know that as much as they are going into that marriage, the DA will be the headliner for that marriage. The ANC has a president. But do you want to have a president and be told what to do? Because if you have people that are not going to read documents, prepare yourself to be shamed each and every day on the public. Yesterday, it was a moment that the ANC could have avoided. Had they sat down with the DA to say that, DA, IFP, this is what we are doing, maybe they would have avoided that. But they are not in a rush of talking. They're in a rush of showing leadership to South Africans, because to them, they are afraid of the fact that people are not sure of the GNU. And if we were not sure about it before, now we definitely are not sure. Now we definitely believe that the ANC will be shamed. I said something about the fact that this is for the DA to gain support. The ANC, whether the government does good, whether it does bad, the ANC will never get credit. If the GNU doesn't work, the ANC will be blamed. If the GNU works, the DA will be given praise, because people will say that had it not been for the leadership of the DA, nothing would have been produced. It is a shame for the ANC to have done this thing of GNU, because what we see now is the fact that they went in trying to show other parties that we can live without you. Now you are living with the devil that you know that is more brighter than you. You are living with your friend, which you know that they went to school and you did short courses. Now it is very difficult for you to go to the standard, because all you know is calling press conferences, answering questions, and going back to Lutili House. You have the big ones now. They read that whole document and read it twice and gave to their friends to read it and sat together and say, what did you not understand? What is the loophole? Already they are showing the ANC that Congolos, that you call governing, was just a fluke. Now you have the real people telling you, do this, do that. Can the ANC really stay on that GNU and deliver? Can they really stay there and say that we love the relationship with the DA? If they really stay that for long, I would really know that something is wrong with the leadership of the ANC. To begin with, you cannot call something the GNU and exclude a lot of parties. It is not a GNU, it is a coalition. They should have said to the people that we are forming a coalition with the DA, but anyone who wants to join can come, because we know that without the support, the DA is going to destroy us. They have already started. Put Fikile Mbalula away from that meeting, away from those negotiations, put him away, as far as away from that, and switch him off in terms of media briefings. Don't let him do interviews on important matters. Let him stay at Lutuli. Because if you do that, you are giving Helen Zille ammunition. President Ramaphosa today has been inaugurated, and soon he's going to announce his cabinet. Surely within 2 days he must announce his cabinet so that people can go there and work. We know that the majority, those big positions, will go to the DA, because the ANC has received power. They have the president. The DA will take the major positions in the ministries. And when they get those things, they will say to the ANC, do not worry. When there's time for accountability, trust in us to stand up and represent you. Because you've been in power for 30 years and you've done absolutely nothing good. So it's time for us to show you that we can govern. The people who are going to receive credit is the DA. ANC will not be mentioned. And when people vote in 2029, they will exclude the ANC, because the ANC has failed to make proper contribution. They could have avoided all of this and worked with parties that could advance what they want to do. But no, they went with the DA because I can avoid MK, I can avoid EFF. Now what you have is Helen Zille calling the shots, and unfortunately, it is going to be a shame for ANC to look at that 30 years and say that the 5 years I worked is better than the 30 years I've been in power alone, because they've not been working. They've been sitting and enjoying power. Now the DA is keeping them on their toes, telling them what to do, when to do, and how to do it. As long as you don't read that document, ANC, as long as you avoid those fine prints, because you want to see what tender is coming along, you are going to have a problem, because Helen Zille wants to stay in power for the next 15 years. She doesn't want to come for 5 years and leave. She wants to stay there forever. She knows that people are going to believe and trust in what the DA has done. ANC will never be mentioned. ANC might be history. They have to wake up and smell the coffee. The DA will finish that coffee before ANC could even smell it if they don't wake up. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in, and until next time, cheers.